On January 2, 2026, just before midnight, the city of Caracas was suddenly plunged into chaos. The night, which had begun like any other, was shattered by a series of violent explosions that echoed across the Venezuelan capital, catching millions off guard and sending shockwaves through the city's heart. Explosions thundered across the city, targeting key government and military sites. The blasts were so powerful that windows shattered blocks away, and the orange glow of fireballs lit up the skyline, painting a scene of devastation and fear. Strategic locations, including military compounds and government buildings, appeared to be the main targets, suggesting a coordinated and deliberate attack. Within minutes, social media was flooded with frantic videos. Residents, their hands trembling, filmed the bright flashes and the deafening roar of blasts from their balconies and windows. Hashtags about the explosions began trending worldwide, as people desperately tried to piece together what was happening in real time. Panic swept through the city as the power grid failed, plunging entire neighborhoods into darkness. Sirens wailed in the distance, and the only light came from burning buildings and the occasional flash of emergency vehicles. People poured into the streets, some searching for loved ones, others simply trying to make sense of the chaos. The Miraflores presidential palace, the seat of Venezuela's government, was reportedly near one of the blast zones. Smoke billowed in the background, raising fears that the very center of power was under direct threat. As the night wore on, the skies above Caracas filled with the ominous roar of low-flying jets and helicopters. Their searchlights swept over rooftops, amplifying the fear and uncertainty on the ground. The military presence was unmistakable, but it was unclear who was in control. Suddenly, a video surfaced online. In it, a group of military dissidents, faces shadowed in a dimly lit room, claimed that President Maduro had been captured. Their message was urgent, their tone defiant, and their words spread like wildfire across the country. This unverified claim transformed confusion into rampant speculation. Was this the beginning of a coup, or was it the result of foreign intervention? Newsrooms scrambled to verify the information, while citizens watched in disbelief, glued to their screens as rumors multiplied. Suddenly, state television went off the air, and internet access became patchy and unreliable. With official channels silent, rumors and conspiracy theories filled the void, fueling anxiety and mistrust among the population. In the darkness, people gathered in small groups, whispering anxiously about what might come next. Was the government collapsing? Was a foreign power involved? No one knew for sure, and fear of the unknown gripped the city. The world's attention snapped to Caracas. International news outlets broke into regular programming, analysts and diplomats scrambled for information, and foreign governments issued urgent statements, all waiting for answers as the crisis unfolded. As the hours dragged on, the city remained tense and silent. Streets that were once bustling stood empty, while anxious residents peered from behind curtains, waiting for any sign of what would happen next. The fate of Venezuela hung in the balance as a nation and the world held its breath, uncertain of what the dawn would bring. For millions in Caracas, the night was a nightmare. The city, once alive with music and laughter, now seemed to hold its breath. Shadows stretched across the skyline, and the usual hum of traffic was replaced by an uneasy silence. Every window glowed faintly, as if the city itself was hiding from what lurked outside. Military vehicles raced through empty streets, their engines echoing off the buildings. Soldiers, tense and alert, scanned every corner for threats. The sight of armored convoys rolling past shuttered shops sent a chill through anyone watching from behind closed curtains. Power outages plunged entire neighborhoods into darkness. Only the flicker of distant fires and the sweep of searchlights broke the blackness, casting eerie shadows on the walls. For many, the darkness was more terrifying than the noise of conflict. Residents, gripped by fear and curiosity, filmed tracer fire arcing across the sky and explosions echoing throughout the In Swalbi, the city's skyline was lit up by flashes of gunfire, each burst a reminder of the chaos unfolding below. Smoke rose from multiple sites, especially near the Fuerte Tiuna military base. The plumes drifted over the city, a visible sign that the violence was close and spreading. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burning chemicals and debris. Every breath reminded people that danger was everywhere, even in the air they inhaled. Inside, darkened apartments, families huddled together, their faces lit only by the glow of their phones. No one knew who was fighting or what would happen next. Rumors spread quickly, but answers were few. As dawn approached the Brahmar, the violence finally eased. But the tension lingered, heavy and unspoken, as if the city itself was waiting for the next eruption. Streets were deserted, shops closed, and public transport halted. The city's usual morning rush was replaced by an uneasy stillness, as if time itself had paused. Caracas felt under siege, not by an invading army, but by fear and uncertainty. The invisible enemy was everywhere, in every empty street and every anxious glance. The city's normal rhythms had vanished overnight. What was once familiar now felt strange and threatening. People waited anxiously for information, desperate for answers and a sense of safety. Radios crackled with rumors, and phones buzzed with messages from loved ones. The silence of morning was as frightening as the chaos before. In that quiet, Caracas held its breath, uncertain of what the next night would bring. The most explosive claim was digital. President Maduro had been captured by U.S. Special Forces. Social media accounts described a dramatic nighttime raid, but none were verified. No major news outlet or government confirmed the story. The Pentagon refused to comment, fueling speculation. The rumors spread rapidly, offering hope to Maduro's opponents, but the sources were questionable, with histories of sensationalism. In Venezuela's information war, disinformation is a powerful weapon. The claim could be a tactic to destabilize the government or simply wishful thinking. Without evidence, no video, photo, or official statement, the story remains a rumor. The government's silence on Maduro's whereabouts only deepened the mystery. For now, his fate is unknown. In the chaos, separating fact from rumor is crucial, confirmed. Multiple explosions hit Caracas near government and military sites. Military movements and aircraft were documented by journalists and residents. The defense minister declared a state of emergency, blaming foreign-backed terrorists. Unconfirmed. The claim of Maduro's capture remains unsupported by evidence. The government hasn't presented Maduro publicly, fueling speculation. Reports of widespread military uprisings and U.S. warships are unverified. The fog of war is thick. Rumors are used to create panic and confusion. Always demand evidence and question what's being claimed. In a crisis, skepticism is your best defense. The world reacted swiftly but with deep divisions. The U.S. called for a peaceful transition but didn't confirm involvement. Colombia and Brazil increased border security, fearing a refugee crisis. Allies of Maduro, like Cuba and Bolivia, condemned the events as imperialist attacks. The EU urged restraint and a negotiated solution. Russia and China warned against foreign intervention, calling it illegal. These responses reflect long-standing geopolitical rifts over Venezuela. The crisis risks becoming a wider international struggle. The world is watching, but not united. Each country's stance complicates any hope for a peaceful resolution. Venezuela's turmoil is now a global flashpoint. The U.S. and Venezuela's fraught history set the stage for this crisis. For decades, the relationship between these two nations has been marked by suspicion, rivalry, and a series of confrontations that have shaped the political landscape of Latin America. Each diplomatic move, each public statement, is colored by years of mistrust and competing interests. Tensions date back to Hugo Chávez's anti-American policies and alliances. Chávez, a charismatic and polarizing figure, openly challenged U.S. influence in the region, forging close ties with countries like Russia, China, and Iran. His fiery rhetoric and socialist reforms made him a hero to some and a threat to others, especially in Washington. The U.S. saw Chávez, and later Maduro, as destabilizing, while Venezuela accused the U.S. of imperialism. This mutual distrust only deepened as both sides accused each other of meddling in internal affairs, fueling a cycle of blame and retaliation that persists to this day. Under Maduro, Venezuela's economy collapsed, sparking a humanitarian crisis. Hyperinflation, food shortages, and mass migration have left millions struggling to survive, turning Venezuela into one of the world's most urgent humanitarian emergencies. The U.S. imposed sanctions, targeting oil and government officials, demanding democratic reforms. These measures were intended to pressure Maduro's government, but they also had far-reaching effects on the Venezuelan people, further straining the already fragile economy. Maduro's government blames these sanctions for the country's woes, calling it economic warfare. State media amplifies this message, portraying the U.S. as the architect of Venezuela's suffering and rallying support against foreign intervention. This narrative fuels government propaganda and justifies crackdowns. By framing dissent as part of a foreign plot, authorities legitimize harsh measures against opposition groups and protesters, tightening their grip on power. The cycle of US pressure and Venezuelan defiance has only escalated. Each new sanction, protest, or diplomatic spat adds another layer to the conflict, making compromise seem ever more distant. Claims of US involvement in Maduro's capture are believable to many because of this history. Years of covert operations, public threats, and mutual accusations have made conspiracy theories plausible in the eyes of both supporters and critics. Both sides view every action with deep suspicion. Even routine diplomatic exchanges are interpreted as potential threats, and trust is virtually non-existent. The crisis is volatile, with mistrust making de-escalation difficult. As tensions rise, the risk of miscalculation grows, and ordinary Venezuelans bear the brunt of the ongoing standoff. The past haunts every move in the present. The shadow of history looms large, ensuring that every decision, every protest, and every negotiation is shaped by what has come before, and by the fear of what might come next. In a crisis, information is a battlefield. Reports and rumors flood social media, many unverified or false. Speed often trumps accuracy. Sensational claims spread before facts are checked. Resist sharing dramatic news until it's confirmed by reputable sources. Always consider the source. Is it a journalist, an official, or an anonymous account? Trust outlets that cite multiple independent sources. Be aware of your own biases. Disinformation targets what you want to believe. Seek out diverse perspectives for a fuller picture. A balanced information diet is essential in polarized times. Stay skeptical, stay informed. As dawn breaks, let's recap what's clear and what isn't. Confirmed, explosions rocked Caracas, military mobilized, and a state of emergency declared. The city faces power outages and deep anxiety. Unconfirmed, Maduro's fate remains a mystery. No evidence supports his capture. The government is largely silent, adding to the uncertainty. The scale and source of the attacks are unclear. External, internal, or both. The attackers' identities and goals are unknown. International reactions are swift but divided, complicating any solution. The situation is fluid and dangerous. The next days are critical. Follow facts, not speculation. Trust professional reporting. The story is still unfolding. Patience and vigilance are vital. For CNN, I'm Anderson Cooper.